A white Range Rover, 3 bodies, no survivors. What really happened on the night of December 6, 1995? Craig Rolfe, a name etched into the shadowy corners of British true crime. As a key figure in the notorious Essex Boys gang, his story is one of loyalty, violence, and an ending as brutal as the life he lived. In this video, we dive into Rolfe's rise through the criminal underworld, and the event that turned him into a symbol of gangland tragedy. Who was Craig Rolfe? Name: Craig Rolfe. Date of birth: 1970. Place of birth: Essex, England. Affiliation: the Essex Boys, a violent and highly feared drug-dealing gang. Role: driver, enforcer, loyal muscle. From an early age, Craig Rolfe was drawn into crime. Growing up in Essex, he started with petty offenses and quickly escalated into the high-stakes world of drugs and violence. His loyalty to the Essex Boys, and particularly to leaders Tony Tucker and Pat Tate, cemented his place in the gang's brutal hierarchy. Rolfe wasn't just a bystander. He was deeply involved in the gang's ecstasy distribution operation during the rave explosion of the 1990s. But drugs weren't his only business. Rolfe acted as a violent enforcer, making sure debts were paid, deals were honored, and the gang's territory stayed under their control. Neighbors whispered about him. Different cars constantly appeared on his driveway, and police were seen dismantling vehicles. Rumors of car theft, drug sales, and heavy violence followed him everywhere. And then came December 6, 1995, the night that changed everything. The Range Murders, the night Essex stopped breathing. On a cold December night, Rolfe, Tony Tucker, and Pat Tate were found shot dead inside a Range Rover on a remote farm track in Reddington. It was an execution, professional, precise, cold-blooded. Each man was shot in the head at close range. The killer fired off 8 rounds, leaving spent shells scattered across the floor. Rolfe was killed instantly, his hands still on the steering wheel, foot on the brake. A shotgun blast entered behind his ear and exited through his mouth. Theories ran wild. Was it a betrayal from within? A power struggle? A retaliation linked to the tragic death of Leah Betts, a teenage girl who died after taking ecstasy, allegedly supplied by the gang? Detective Superintendent Ivan Dibley, who led the investigation, believed Pat Tate was the primary target. Rolfe and Tucker, collateral damage. The personal side, Donna Jaggers and family life. Behind the criminal mask, Craig Rolfe had a personal life. A long-term partner, Donna Jaggers, and a young child. Donna had been with him for 7 years. Their child was just 6 years old at the time of Rolfe's murder. Devastated and distraught, Donna wept in front of reporters. She later told police about Rolfe's dealings, drug runs, weapons transactions, even a machine gun hidden in their home. After the murders, she found the gun in a holdall and surrendered it to authorities. Today, her whereabouts remain unknown. Her brief public statements peeled back the veil on a man who was both feared gangster and family man. The Essex Boys. Brotherhood and brutality. Rolfe's bond with Tucker and Tate went beyond business. The 3 were a feared trio, moving through Essex's underworld with ruthless efficiency. Friends, enforcers, dealers. Their names became synonymous with danger. Rolfe served as Tucker's driver. According to neighbors, he appeared obsessed with cars, almost like a car dealer. But those same neighbors kept their distance, describing the household as secretive and standoffish. Through drug addiction and criminal intent, Rolfe became deeply embedded in the Essex Boys' inner circle. And it was this very connection that led to his violent end. The aftermath, funeral and fallout. Craig Rolfe's funeral was a chilling spectacle. A horse-drawn carriage carried his coffin, followed by a cortege of 20 cars. Mourners listened to eulogies from his partner Donna and his mother Lorraine. The media frenzy only intensified. Documentaries, films, especially Rise of the Foot Soldier, turned Rolfe into a pop culture symbol of gangland violence. But behind the mythology was a young man who died at just 26. Justice or controversy? The convictions of Holmes and Steele. In 1998, police arrested Jack Holmes and Michael Steele for the murders. The key witness, Darren Nichols, a former associate turned police informant. Based on his testimony, Holmes and Steele were sentenced to life. But doubts plagued the case. Mobile phone records, timeline discrepancies. Over the years, both men challenged their convictions, claiming innocence. In 2021, Jack Wombs was released on parole after serving 23 years. His sentence had been reduced due to good behavior. Legacy: the life and death of Craig Rolfe. Craig Rolfe's story is more than a cautionary tale. It's a window into a time when Essex's streets were ruled by ambition, fear, and bloodshed. He rose quickly, died young, and left behind a legacy that still divides opinion. Was he a product of his environment, a victim of circumstance, or simply a man who made fatal choices in a dangerous world? The Range Rover murders remain one of Britain's most notorious unsolved mysteries, and Craig Rolfe, forever, one of its most haunting names.